How a wayward Roman youth called Duro stumbled into the Roman legion on a sunny, ill-omened day in August, and found himself there for life. Do not trouble yourself for your brethren, for we have already provided lands for them, which they shall possess forever. Gaius Marius, 157 to 86 BCE. Over the heather the wet wind blows. I've lice in my tunic and a cold in my nose. The rain comes pattering out of the sky. I'm a wall soldier, I don't know why. The mist creeps over the hard gray stone. My girl's in Tungria, I sleep alone. Aulus goes hanging around her place. I don't like his manners, I don't like his face. She gave me a ring, but I diced it away. I want my girl, and I want my pay. When I'm a veteran with only one eye, I shall do nothing but look at the sky. Duro lived during the very apex of Roman power and global influence. Having been born in the second year of the 2nd century CE, that is, 102 CE, Duro was the only one of 5 children born to his father to have survived childhood. Duro's lineage was far from illustrious in the eyes of the Romans, as his grandfather had been a Dacian officer, serving the defiant king Decebalus in what is now called Domitian's Dacian War. The war took place in modern-day Romania, and while it was one of the proudest moments in the history of Romania, it did not rate so highly in the annals of Rome's celebrated military history, since the Romans lost. And in that short but savage war, Duro's grandfather had been captured by a brave Roman officer and subsequently sent into a life of slavery on a Roman plantation, which happened to be owned by a wealthy Roman senator of, unfortunately, malignant temperament. Duro's grandfather soon died on that plantation from exhaustion and abuse. But before he died, he fathered a son with a fellow female slave he encountered there during a rare night of tranquility. And though he did not love her, the night they spent together in that hopeless place gave them both a brief reminder of the human intimacy and compassion they had known in their native lands prior to the Roman enslavement. And the son that was born to that proud Dacian warrior, later enslaved, was Duro's father, who, in turn, was sold as a boy to a wealthy Roman freedman, innkeeper, and tavern owner, where Duro's father, fortunately, grew up knowing none of the physical abuse his brave father had suffered on the Roman plantation, but was nonetheless a legal slave under Roman law. Due to his loyalty and usefulness, Duro's father was awarded his freedom on the day of his master's death, never one blessed with good health. Luckily for Duro's father, this day came sooner rather than later. Duro's father, having learned something of the hospitality business during decades of serving his former master, put his meager, hard-won life savings into a small tavern in one of the neighborhoods of the Aventine, of less illustrious repute. As a freedman, Duro's father took a legal wife, a poor but free woman of Iberian origin, and in time she bore him 5 children, all of whom, by law, were born Roman citizens, and all of whom died before the age of 10, save Duro, who found himself in his teens getting bored with his father's sleepy tavern business and drifting into the more alluring, though fairly lethal, Roman criminal underworld. And it is here, in the year 119 CE, in the second year of the famous Emperor Hadrian's reign, that we find young Duro, now 17 years old and a full Roman citizen, running for his life.
Don't let the other one get away. Like to set fires, do ya, punk? Around here there's rules, see? Burn down our building, we make you pay, punk. And today, you'll pay with blood.
In the notorious neighborhood known as Regio 13th of Entius, we find young Duro running for his life. You may be wondering why we find these infuriated goons might be chasing young Duro and his best friend Varro down the streets of the Aventine with murderous intent this fine morning. Well, it might have something to do with the fact that Duro, as a part of his initiation to join the gang of a local crime boss called Evander, set fire to a highly combustible apartment complex, committing the crime of arson, not an uncommon corruption in those days. Arson was a high-stakes game. If you controlled the local fire brigade, as did Evander, you could extort the distraught owners of the burning building for prompt payment to put out the fire. Or you could offer to buy the burning buildings at criminally low prices. But lighting buildings on fire with insufficient guile, such as in broad daylight and lacking a credible alibi, could get you killed.
Get the little maggots. Don't let them get away.
Come on, faster, Varro, keep up! I'm trying, Duro! I'm running as hard as I can! I'm scared!
Duro, being inexperienced at lighting urban dwellings on fire, was overzealous, and the fire had spread quickly and most unluckily into the properties of a rival crime boss who was not so easily intimidated. At this moment, Duro no longer worried whether he'd pleased Evander, the local crime boss with whom he had sought to curry favor, in order to join the ranks of his gang. Now, instead, he wondered if he'd live to see another day.
Varro, you've got to run faster! Follow me into the Emporium, we can lose them in there! Duro, they're gaining on me! Varro and I have been friends all our lives, and he never could run as fast as me.
Like to set fires, do ya, punk? Around here there's rules, see? Burn down our building, we make you pay, punk! And today, you'll pay with blood. Don't let the other one get away!
Having grown up in Rome's Aventine, Duro knew his way around the many twists and turns of the Aventine, and how to make himself scarce. If he could just cut through the town square and across the triad of Ceres, he might just be able to lose them.
The mighty Hadrian seeks able-bodied young men to apply to join his glorious imperial legions. Rome's enemies never sleep. Rome's enemies lurk about in the night woods and threaten our borders. They threaten our peace, hard won by brave Roman soldiers who came before you, who did their sacred duty to protect Mother Rome. Do you think you have what it takes to wear the crimson? Sons of Rome, citizens! Do you think you have the backbone to stand against Rome's enemies, to win glory and honor for your family, for your name, for your emperor? Well, citizen, do you think you have what it takes to march for Rome?
Duro lied that day that he was 18, rather than his real age of 17, to make the cut. But the centurion in charge of the recruitment that day wasn't going to make a fuss. He'd observed Duro outrun a violent street gang, which showed at least a working instinct for self-preservation. Turns out, the skill of staying alive was one of the more valuable skills a legionnaire should possess. And though still a youth, Duro stood taller than the average recruit, 5'9", and appeared reasonably stocky and well-fed to boot, owing to his father's modest success as a tavern owner in the Aventine. Valeria Vitrix, the most powerful, the most respected, and the most lethal 20th Legion of Rome, needed fresh blood for the dangerous, lonely job of protecting Rome's uneasy border in Britannia, where recently too many men had either died or retired, or disappeared into the misty wilderness of that exotic island at the edge of the world. And so Duro signed his name, best he could, and received 3 gold coins, standard signing bonus, and thereby joined the ranks of the world's first professional army, and arguably the most formidable fighting force in the world, up to that moment in history. And for one glorious moment, Duro swelled with pride, envisioning the newfound respect he would get wearing the famous crimson, the color of 3-day-old blood, the color of fear. He gripped his state-issued steel gladius and iron-tipped spear, squeezing them in manly fashion. The women would now crumble with desire before him, all the gorgeous beauties he could have with his newfound status. And of course, he no longer needed to fear Pollux or his bloody-minded minions, or retaliation from Evander for failing his mission to commit arson. That world, those characters, were now within the stroke of a Roman stylus, as part of his past. For Roman gangsters knew better than to mess with legionnaires in the Roman army. And yes, all that was true. So very true. Duro now had nothing to fear from the pockmarked gangster called Pollux, or his gang of ruffians, or Evander, and his retaliatory wrath, or even the potential disapproval of his strict freedman father.
Soldier, will you stand at attention when I inspect the line?
Sir!
And did I command you to lean lazily on your shield?
No, sir!
And did I command you to remove your helmet, which was designed by Ares himself to keep you alive?
No, sir, you did not!
And did I command you to drop your helmet, fashioned by the god of war himself, to the ground?
Sir, no, sir, you did not!
And then why, by the sons of Dis, did you lean on your spear, carelessly remove your helmet, and then, like a proper fool seeking an early grave, drop to the ground your helmet? An armament that was forged by the very god of war himself, who has loved and protected Rome through 1,000 wars.
Sir, I was tired, sir!
You were tired, you say? A perfectly valid excuse for a fool who wishes to sleep with the worms in the cold dirt of Britannia. Soldier, pick up your helmet, put it on, and stand at attention before you learn what a son of a bitch I can really be.
Sir!
Listen now, soldiers of Rome, and listen well. The Celts of Britannia, where you have won the great fortune to be stationed, are clever, murderous bastards, patient, vigilant, and restless in pursuit of careless mistakes. Remove your helmet while on duty, and sure as the sun will set on your miserable life, you will catch a stone slung from a hidden adversary right between your eyes. They'll kill you, and by the time you realize it, you'll be a well-armed corpse. Then they will vanish into the Celtic mist before any of your brethren can avenge you. Do you understand me now, recruit?
Sir, yes, sir!
Do you want a rock lodged in your brain?
Sir, no, sir!
Then you will stand at attention. You will not rest on your spear. You will not remove your helmet while on duty for the rest of your natural-born life. And you will obey my every order, as if the words had come from the god of war himself. Am I clear?
Sir, yes, sir!
I said, am I clear?
Sir, yes, sir! Your words are clear!
And now, so you remember this lesson well, and not soon forget it.
Stand firm! Forward! To the front lines!
For every second you lean on your shield, I will reward you with 10 lashes. Does that sound agreeable to you, soldier?
Why?
I said, do you find that agreeable?
Sir! Yes, sir!
And for every time you remove your helmet on duty, 10 more. Agreeable?
Sir, yes, sir!
And for every time you drop your helmet to the ground, forged by Vulcan himself in the fires of Hades, you will receive 10 more still. Does that sound agreeable?
Sir, yes, sir!
Ah, yes. Duro had nothing to fear from the criminals of Rome's Aventine. Now, he had something new to fear. It was something all young recruits to the Roman army learned to fear, instinctively gritting their teeth at the very sight of it. It was the vine staff of the seasoned centurion. By signing his name, Duro had signed up for a 25-year career in the Imperial Army. And if he survived his 25 years honorably, he would be rewarded with a plot of land upon which to retire, the opportunity to take a wife, and a decent pension by contemporary standards. Unlike arson, this was a respectable career path. Like arson, a dangerous game. 25 years in the Roman Legion was a very long time. And during this 25 years, Duro would become acquainted with a great many opportunities to die in some of the remotest parts of the known world, in some imaginatively unpleasant ways. Duro's chances of seeing that fabled Roman military pension were about 50-50, given the fact that Pollux and his goons would certainly have murdered Duro in the Aventine that very morning. One must confess, Duro chose acceptable odds.